There is a very interesting story that was captured by Nation today, a story that is going to inform our analysis and discussion right now. Revealed, Ruto reached out to Raila to end MAANDAMANO protests. It was President William Ruto who sent an emissary to opposition leader Raila Odinga's camp with a significant concession, signaling willingness to talk ahead of the State House press conference, proposing a bipartisan initiative in Parliament to help end opposition demonstrations. Multiple senior sources in both the Raila and Ruto camps, who all requested anonymity because of confidentiality agreements, reconfirmed that though the two leaders did not meet or even talk on phone, they had over the previous 2 days engaged in intensive discussions through trusted representatives. They were also both under intense pressure from America, British, European Union, Chinese, and Japanese governments to call a truce and halt the increasingly violent confrontations between opposition protesters and police. Yes, that's a very interesting story that I want us to dig deep into for Kenyans to understand what's going on here. Now that we are seeing two camps actually hardening their stance once more, we are seeing Ruto and his team rubbishing all these talks and this dialogue. And on the other side, we are seeing Raila and his team. They have already announced that on Thursday, not on Sunday, they will be holding a political rally at Kamkunji grounds in Nairobi. So it appears these two camps are seizing one another. They are sizing one another. What's actually going on behind the scenes? If you are watching us, but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Let's dig deep. Yes. If you follow William Ruto's team, the likes of Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro Kimani Ichung'wah, in fact, Rigathi Gachagua, about 2 days ago, while speaking on the mountain, he made it very clear that it's Raila Odinga who reached out to William Ruto for a ceasefire. And he was talking with a very loud voice. You could easily think that what he was saying was actually true. New details are emerging that it's William Ruto himself, through his emissaries, who reached out to Raila Odinga to call off the demonstrations. And if you go through that story, the story is also saying, rather, Nation is also reporting that William Ruto was concerned on the attacks witnessed at Uhuru Kenyatta's Northlands farm and at Raila Odinga's Spectre International. He was not very pleased with those two events. And the Nation is reporting that he was also not briefed or informed of the attacks. I agree with the Nation that William Ruto is the person who reached out to Raila Odinga. I disagree with the Nation when it says William Ruto was not aware that Uhuru Kenyatta's Northlands farm and Raila Odinga's Spectre International were to be attacked. William Ruto was fully aware, and he might have sanctioned the attacks on Uhuru Kenyatta's Northlands Farm and Raila Odinga's Spectre International. He is just making a U-turn because he also fears that himself one day might also be targeted. Because Ruto is one politician who has been mentioned in several land issues. So he might have made a U-turn after sanctioning the attacks because he feared one day, one time, he might also be the target. Yes. But I agree with the nation when it says Ruto reached out to Raila Odinga. And that confirms clearly the kind of hypocrisy, the lies being peddled with some of William Ruto's allies. Because listening to Rigathi, he was really shouting loud. He was shouting the loudest that ni Raila. Raila is the person who reached out to Ruto. It's very clear it's Ruto who reached out to Raila Odinga. And that just confirms the desperation that was building in William Ruto's team. Ruto was not very sure of what was going to happen next. And now that we are seeing hardline positions being taken by some of his allies, that confirms one thing again. Ruto must be a very confused politician, or is just trying to play to the gallery. He is just trying to hoodwink or cheat his supporters that is not interested in a truce with Raila Odinga. But behind the scenes, in private, he's very desperate for a ceasefire. Yes, that's a possibility. And that's why I've always maintained here that Ruto is one politician who in public and in private, what he says in public is very different from what he's doing in private. A William Ruto in public is very different from a William Ruto in private. And even right now, the headline positions we are seeing, those might be signs of a confused William Ruto, or a William Ruto is just trying to cheat his supporters, just as I've explained. And from what Nation is also reporting, which I'm also in agreement, they were also both under intense pressure from America, British, European Union, Chinese, and Japanese governments. That's very true, because Kenya is like the hub. Anytime there are chaos in Kenya, then the world is concerned. And in fact, that Raila Odinga and his team did achieve their mission in that through their demonstrations, they were ready, or rather they were able to get the attention of the international community. And that's why William Ruto might have yielded to the talks. So the demonstrations were actually successful because before the demonstrations, Raila and his team were calling for dialogue with Kenya Kwanza, but they were not ready. After the demonstrations, the whole world noticed what was happening in Kenya and piled pressure on the government, and they yielded to the pressure. So the demonstrations did achieve the aim and the mission. And now that we are seeing the government still playing hardline positions, Azimio has already called for a political rally on Sunday. And just as I did explain in our earlier video, this rally and this baraza we are going to see from the side of Azimio will just be aimed at piling pressure on William Ruto and his team to yield on to Azimio demands. Because as things are right now, William Ruto has no option but to talk and to yield to some of the demands being laid on the table by the Azimio team. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. But one thing I wanted to bring to your attention in this video is that it's Ruto who reached out to Raila Odinga and not Raila Odinga to William Ruto. That confirms Ruto was very scared, very desperate for a ceasefire. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.